Welcome back, everybody. Hoping that you had an amazing week and hoping that you got to play with ChatGPT and experiment and use it for your reach outs for your stakeholders. I'm hoping your SMART goals are also going well. We're going to have a chance to dive into those today and to also learn some new skills. So we know you're out there practicing everything you've been learning, and you're no doubt coming up against some of your old ways of being, some of the blockages. We're going to be exploring that today. The main thrust of the work we'll do today is self-accountability. We're going to do some specific skills on how to respond to yes, no's, and maybes. But the main thing we're going to look at today is accountability, because if we are accountable to ourselves for the results that we're lining out in our SMART goals, if we can be honest about where we are and where we need to go, then we can overcome any barrier that comes our way. The process that we're doing, this taking an idea or a thought into a structure and then into full manifestation in the world, is the seed of creation, really. It's how everything that we know and love and can touch and feel is created. The Dream Academy was someone's idea, was a thought that got a few people enrolled. And now the Dream Academy is a place where we can all go for inspiration. It's like a learning incubator. It's a thing that has taken a life of its own. And that's really what we're doing with your projects. We're taking your ideas, we're bringing them into structure, then we're bringing them out into the world with the hope, with the desire that they will also take on a life of their own, that they will also become these sustainable entities that are created by you, but then become self-sustaining, self-expanding, self-scaling. So that's the work that we're going to be up to. And often as we begin taking an idea into structure, into the world, we want to ground on, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? So I'd love to start out today answering that specific question. Why am I the best person to lead this project? I'm going to give you a slide now so you can just start writing. Great work. And we're going to go a little bit deeper with that question, and we're going to ask ourselves, how have all of my life experiences, both the painful and the joyful, both the ones that we remember and cherish and maybe some we want to forget, how have all those life experiences perfectly prepared me to lead this project? Here's the slide right now. And now, as we embrace why us, why we are the ones that lead this project, and how our life has prepared us for this project, let's also look at what are the limiting beliefs I need to let go of to be successful in this project. What are the limiting beliefs, the ways that I've been in the past and the ways that I may think about what's possible for me now, what's possible in the world now? What are the limiting beliefs I need to let go of to be successful in this project? Here's a slide. Go ahead and write now. So now we're going to drill down a bit and we're going to look at how are we doing on our SMART goals this week. You know, SMART goals only work if you keep looking at them and you use them as a map, as a barometer of your progress. So I want you to look at the SMART goals you made last week, see how you're doing on them, and also see how you're doing on your reach outs to your stakeholders. There was some homework last week and it was creating the SMART goals in beginning and beginning on your reach outs. I'll give you a slide now. How are you doing in both of those areas? So, the reason we're starting off with this self assessment, with this review of how we're doing on our goals, is that self honesty and accountability are core elements of success in any project. If you're not able to check in with yourself and honestly say, did I do what I committed to last week? Am I on a path to accomplish things on the timeline that I established? Do I need to add or refine SMART goals? If you can't answer these questions regularly and honestly and take full accountability for what you're doing, for the results you're creating, it's going to be a rough road. So that's why we're starting with this skill, and that's why now we're going to drill down a little further on exactly where you're at with your SMART goals and your reach outs. So now we're going to have a series of short slides to ride on just to get really specific on those results. And I'm going to start with your reach outs to your stakeholders. Who have you reached out to thus far? What follow ups to those reach outs need to happen this week? Go ahead and write those down now. Which stakeholders do you still need to reach out to? Go ahead and write those down now. Last week, we structured some exploration around Chat GDP. How'd that go? And have you been using Chat GDP in your reach outs this week? If you haven't, would you be willing to in the coming week? I'd love you to write about that now. So, how have you been using or not using Chat GDP? And are you willing to make a commitment to yourself to use this tool for reach outs, but also maybe to structure your project, asking questions like, what are the 10 first steps in structuring a funding proposal? Or what are the steps in recruiting volunteers? Or what are the steps in identifying the needs of my project? ChatGPT can work for all of those purposes, but we trained last week on using it specifically for reach outs. So I'd love you to write now on how have you been using it, and are you willing to commit to use it for reach outs this coming week? You can use it in those other ways, but specifically for reach outs in this week. Write that now. So again, this self-accountability, this self-assessment is a really core element to getting these projects going and keeping them on track, because no doubt there's going to be all kinds of obstacles. So one of those obstacles is if you've already started doing reach outs, you've probably gotten some no's, maybe you've gotten some maybes, and maybe you've gotten a few yeses. So we want to talk primarily this morning about how do you respond to no's. We're going to cover maybes and yeses, but those are a little bit easier. So no is really an opportunity to build relationship. So I get lots of no's, and so does our team. We're reaching out all the time for help from corporations, from foundations, from individuals, and they tell us no a lot. So we really get a chance to practice what we're about to talk about. So as I said, we're going to go through the same process with maybes and yeses, but I'm going to let you do that primarily on your own. The working with no's is the art that most people don't have down. So I'm going to just take you through a structure, and then I'm going to ask you, and you can go ahead and start thinking about this, to imagine or remember a no that you recently got, or a no that you're anticipating you might get if you do some of the reach outs on your list. So a no that you've recently gotten, or a no that you're afraid of or anticipating in some future reach outs. So I think the most important sort of steps in receiving a no, and we're just going to assume that this no is in written form, is expressing gratitude. The person responded to you. We do lots of reach outs, maybe even with follow-ups, that we got no response from. So the fact that the person is responding to you, even though it's not the response you wanted, we want to express gratitude around that. Now, the next thing is to really acknowledge their decision. So we don't want to just gloss over that this person has said no. We want to say, I understand why you're saying no. It makes sense to me because of XYZ factors. And hopefully they've given you a little background. Maybe what you were asking for is outside of their grant targeting or their criteria. Maybe they've used their budget for the year. Maybe the space that you were asking for is being used by somebody else, or maybe it just doesn't fit their mission. So just acknowledging their decision is a really important piece. So the first piece, expressing gratitude. The next piece, acknowledging their decision. The next piece is seeking feedback. Like, people love to be asked for advice. They love to have their perspective elicited. So asking for how your project, how your project proposal could be better, or what they would advise your next steps to be, or who else should you talk to, or is there any feedback that you could give me about the proposal I sent? So asking for feedback in whatever way feels authentic and right to you. And then creating some possibility of future opportunities, letting them know that you're going to stay in touch with them and that you're going to offer them opportunities for future engagement, and making yourself available if they need something. Maybe they need someone on a panel. Maybe they need some help for one of their projects. Maybe they just need consulting or connections into the community. So both offering future opportunities and offering help are great things to do. Providing additional information. When you get a no and you have an indication of why you got that no, you might say, my project also does this and this and this. Or the impacts of my project that weren't inside of my communication with you are this and this and this. You want to see if you can fill in their view of what you're proposing, and you want to add additional information that might move them in the direction of a favorable response in the future. And then, just basically building relationship is really, really important. So how do you do that? A lot around the things that I've already said. You offer your help, you express your gratitude, and you basically let them know that even though they're not saying yes to funding this particular project, that you'd love to stay in touch with them on the progress, and you'd love to stay in touch with them on issues that affect our community. And you'd love to keep in touch with them on ways that you might be helpful to them. So just opening the doors to build relationship in whatever ways feel authentic. when you get a no and you respond to it with generosity, that says so much about who you are to this potential funder. And this potential funder is really bound, and I'll just speak from experience, to sort of rethink that no and think, well, maybe this project isn't a right fit, but I'd really like to work with this person who received my no with an offer of help. So that's super, super positive way to respond. And then I think the end thing that just sort of wraps it all up is you want to stay professional, right? We don't want to express our, profound disappointment. We don't want to guilt trip them. We don't want to shame them. We don't want to tell them why their decision was wrong. We want to stay upbeat and professional and really honor that they've made the best decision for them as we give them more information and be so incredibly compelling that they may rethink that and want to work with us in the future. Okay, I just gave you a lot of information. And as I shared it, I'm not sure that it landed. I'm not sure it would land with me. So everything we do in this course, we want to be extremely practical and applicable to what you're actually working with. So thinking back to that no that you received recently, or to a no that you imagine you might receive, we're going to give you a slide that just basically outlines everything we just talked about. And then we'd like you to respond back to that imagined or real no using the process that we've just talked about, using the points that we just talked about in your particular voice. You're going to speak authentically for you, but you're going to incorporate all the elements that I just went over, and we're going to have this slide to guide you along. Go ahead. Fantastic work. How was that for you? It's such a shift, right? When you get a no, which we're conditioned as children and adults to experience this rejection, to come back with generosity, with interest, with a motivation to build relationship, to get advice from this person, to get perspective from this person, to keep this person informed on what you're doing. It's such a shift in how we navigate the world. And it makes every interaction a possibility in waiting rather than a closed door. So this is really, really important work. And I invite you to replay this video as much as you want and practice, responding to those no's. And when you get them, pull this slide out for your response because it'll be a great guide. Now we know we also get maybes. We get responses like, I can't give you 3 volunteers, but maybe I could give you 1. I can't give you 500, but maybe I could give you 150. I can't offer you the space you were looking for, but I can offer you this other space on another date. I can't do this partnership the way that you're proposing it, but maybe there's another way we could partner. So there's going to be a lot of maybes. And I'd love you to very creatively, in your own authentic voice, use this same slide to respond to an actual maybe that you've recently gotten or a maybe that you imagine. And the maybe again is we might support you, we might not, or we can't give you what you asked for, but we might be able to give you something else. So thinking about a maybe that you've actually gotten or you imagine getting, use this same slide and respond with those same elements, those same relationship builders, that same generosity to that imagined or real maybe. Do that now. This kind of practice really pays off. Okay, great work. And as I said before, really practicing and honing your skill at meeting no's and maybes with generosity and interest and relationship building statements is a skill that will pay off. Soon enough, you'll have a whole network of people that you're keeping in touch with your project, and those people will eventually support you. Most of our corporate sponsors started out a no. Even many of our donors that we have now started out a no. But we use these same relationship building structures that we're offering you today, and they eventually shifted into, yeah, I can do that, or yeah, I'd like to do that, or no, we have some money now so we can support you. So here's an easy one. What about a yes? Thinking about a yes that you've gotten recently, or a yes that you anticipate getting or you'd like to get. How would you respond to a yes using this slide? Now, certainly it's going to be a lot more fun, and I'm going to imagine that there's going to be a lot more warmth and acknowledgement, as well as a statement of the impact that whatever they're offering you, money or people or space, is going to offer to your project. So, creatively using this same slide, I'd like you to respond to a real or imagined yes. And the invitation is to bring even more warmth through the page, even more acknowledgement, very specific acknowledgement. This is what your gift is going to allow to happen. So really letting them taste the impact. And then whatever commitments you want to make to them, to follow up with the results of whatever they're providing. I'm going to take pictures of the event. I'm going to tell you how many people we were able to feed. I'm going to tell you how many people we offered clothes and shoes to. I'm going to tell you the results of the digital literacy training. I'm going to send you a copy of the doc film that we're making. So acknowledging, stating the impact, using this slide to build relationship, and then offering some specific follow-up that they can count on. That's also a relationship builder. Go ahead and use the slide now to respond to an imagined or real yes. Fantastic work. And as I said before, watch this video as many times as it's useful to you. And anytime you're making a response back to a donor, whether it's a yes, no, or maybe, use this slide, use this structure, and go back and just really reread your response before you send it out and ask yourself, could I be more generous? Could I be more acknowledging? Could I offer their feedback? Could I offer my receptivity to their advice? All good things. So thinking about all the challenges that come up in a project, we need through lines, right? We need support. We need something to ground us through all those obstacles. In TDA, we each came up with a mantra and a mission. So I want to revisit that today. And I revisited mine right before I came on to talk to you. And my mission, the updated version, is to be a conduit of divine wisdom and guidance, right? To be a conduit of divine wisdom and guidance. That reminds me that it's not coming from me. I'm just listening inside my heart and then speaking and sharing with you the way I am right now. And then the mantra that I use as I'm going to the bathroom or washing dishes or driving to center me in that mission is listen deeply and act. Listen deeply and act. That immediately orients me to every situation. So if someone's talking to me, I'm listening deeply and then I'm responding. If I get a request, I'm listening deeply and I'm responding. If I have a choice to make, I'm listening deeply and I'm responding. If I have an impulse in myself for self-care or to play with my children, I listen deeply and then I act. So my mantra is orienting me for the moment, and my mission is reminding me what my life purpose is. It orients me towards the big picture of why I'm on this planet. I'm going to ask you now, using a supportive slide, to revisit your mission and your mantra and make any refinements that feel right for today. So you're revisiting your mission and your mantra, and you're making any refinements that feel right today. Do that now. And as we move towards the end of our time together today, I think it's important that we each make a commitment to the actions we're going to take. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes now to write down the specific actions that serve the success of your SMART goals that you're willing to make this week between right now and the time we see each other again right here. There's a slide for that. And friends, the last exercise of the day is really acknowledging that to make real change, you pretty much have to live outside your comfort zone. You pretty much have to confront all the ways that you've been in scarcity mindset or operating from limiting beliefs. So I'd like you to write now how you're willing to live outside your comfort zone in this next week. Very specifically, what are the things you're going to do that are outside of your comfort zone this next week? Maybe you're going to write love notes to your family and your roommates. Maybe you're going to do 5 or 10 cold call reach outs to people you don't know. Maybe you're going to go to some community events. Maybe you're going to make some amends. Maybe you're going to work very diligently on your SMART goals because you haven't done that up to now. How are you going to specifically step out of your comfort zone this week? I'll give you a couple minutes to write it down. You've done amazing work today. And know that this series is a lot about developing and deepening new skills like the SMART goals, like staying in touch with your stakeholders, like using artificial intelligence to learn new processes and to reach out to new supporters and stakeholders. We want to keep practicing those skills because if we don't practice a skill, it doesn't develop and it doesn't really root in who we are. So feel free again to watch the video as many times as you like and really want to encourage you to be accountable to yourself. The commitments you've made and the writing you did today, it's so important. It's like you're meeting yourself for the first time and you're making a commitment. I'm going to show up at 12. I'm going to make you lunch. I'm going to be a person you can talk to. Really, really important that you keep those commitments that you make to yourself, that you have a level of self-honesty and self-accountability that you can rely on, that you can trust on, your stakeholders can rely and trust, and everyone that comes in contact with you can rely and trust that you're going to do what you say. All right, friends, have a great week. Look forward to seeing you in the WhatsApp group and look forward to seeing you next week.